Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jacob and this is Last Stop Waterfowl Outdoors TV. So today, guys, the point of this video is to discuss a topic that I am approached with oftentimes by viewers, listeners of the podcast, and they are oftentimes asking my opinion on how has the internet and social media affected our public hunting grounds in the state that I live in, is what people are typically asking about here in Louisiana, where we are located at, but all across the United States, it applies to every state. And the short answer that I often give people is, you know what, I really don't think that social media or the internet has had as much influence on public hunting grounds as some people try to make it out to be. And just hear me out. You may say right off the bat, I don't agree with that. But this is kind of where we are, in my opinion. And this is, once again, just my opinion, guys, on this situation. I've been hunting public land my entire life. I think out of those two things, the internet, online mapping, having, mapping at our fingertips, aerial imagery, that type of stuff, I think technology there has probably affected our public hunting grounds more than what I would say social media for the most part. Because what it's done is, with aerial imagery, and access to technology like that, it has opened up so many more possibilities for people to be able to find spots on public grounds that otherwise they would have never taken the time to go out and literally put their feet on the ground and go out and scout these spots. But then again, it's also made hunters more efficient in eliminating, if they are looking to scout spots, it helps them eliminate areas that they may not want to go and take a look at, because it doesn't look as good on aerial imagery or something like that. So it's also made people more efficient that are willing to scout. It's kind of a double-edged sword there. But I really think that people being able to go online with technology now and look at spots and find spots that otherwise, like I mentioned, they would have never found by foot, the old school way of scouting. It's really probably opened up a lot more opportunities for people, and definitely put a little bit more pressure on certain areas that, maybe you or a family member or somebody may have passed down from generation to generation, because you had somebody that told you about a certain area and they were able to take you along on a hunt, and later on you went on your own, or it was passed down from a family member or a good friend of yours down a generation, and so on, if that makes sense. So I think technology has definitely played more of a root cause in producing public land, maybe traffic. And then you have the other flip side of that coin, which is going to be social media. There's so many people, I can't tell you, with us having a platform on social media, and also through our podcast over the years, I can't tell you, as we've grown, how many hate messages we've got, how many people, I've lost friendships over it, to be honest with you, because they'll say, I can't believe you post a video, or you always looking to, post a video in an area that I've hunted for years, and this and that. And guys, I'm going to tell you something right off the bat. If you've ever watched us, we typically will never, ever talk about an exact area or tell our viewers or our listeners to go to a specific area to hunt, when we know that that's going to cause a lot of issues in that area, or a lot more traffic that could possibly harm other hunters, or harm ourselves. I mean, we put in a lot of time scouting. We put in countless hours over the years, to be honest with y'all, whether it's by foot or by boat, or riding into a spot maybe on an ATV, just scout hours. We've done that for many years. We've done it the old school way. And you think that we would want to just give that information away to people who aren't willing to put in the hard work aspect of it to be able to just go out there and hunt an area where we are, or where we've had some success at. Well, you kind of have to be crazy to think that, and I can guarantee you that that's not the situation from the way I look at it, but what we've had, an opportunity to do with our platform and our channel is be able to educate people and be able to help people who may want to get into this sport. I always say this. I say when I started our channel and our podcast, it was more about me and my family just having something to track. My kids growing up, my two sons growing up, kind of coming up hunting with me, and look back on almost like a diary or like a scrapbook of sort, something like that, where we could look back and see them through the years, see what we did from year to year, scout to maybe give us a little bit more success down the road, something to look back on, almost like a journal that many of us kept, handwritten for many years before social media and the digital age came along. But that's really what it was intended to be. And then over time, as we kind of continue to grow, what I've learned is that we could use our platform to be able to help other people that are interested in hunting possibly feel comfortable and have a place to come to in order to get valuable resources and information on the proper ways to go about, or at least hopefully I like to think that we do it the proper way, to go about and approach hunting on public ground, or just hunting in general. Or if it's a fishing video, we do fishing, a specific area. Same thing on that side of things. And I've really made it my mission over the last couple of years to educate other outdoorsmen. And I think that, social media in turn kind of gets a bad rap sometimes, because it could be misused in a lot of ways, and it could be used for, harmful purposes to attack other people. And that's not what we're about here on our platform. That's really not what we want to do. We want to have that brotherhood. We want to have that area where we could come together as outdoorsmen and we could educate other people. We're not here to clown on other people, harp on other people's failures, and when they go out and try to hunt or fish. That's not what we want to be about, and I don't stand for that at all. I want to be here to educate people, and I think that that's what my platform and my sons that are now with me coming along, starting to get more and more involved as they continue to get older. I think that's what we're all about. And I think that the social media aspect sometimes gets a bad rap, because everybody thinks, oh, it's just about the duck piles, and it's just about bragging rights of what you killed today and what you did today and what kind of gear you got and all this and that, that stuff. And I think that really, people look at that aspect of it and they say, they get really pissed off about it, to be honest with you, some people, because they say, well, you're just, you're out there to put all this information out there so other people will know where to go hunt. And now people are showing up, and there's more people showing up in areas that I hunted that I never saw before. And you're the root of that cause, of that evil. You're the root of that evil, I should say. And in reality, guys, when I look at it and I say, okay, technology, in my opinion, has been probably more of a leading factor than what social media has, as far as more people being out there. Let me break it to you if you think that those two reasons are the main issue. Guys, people are hunting public land because they've always hunted public land. And nowadays, with the price of leases, when guys are paying $15,000 for a rice field blind, or to join a duck club, and they're paying thousands of dollars, there's only a small percentage of people that can afford to do that and that have the luxury to do that. But for every other blue collar working man, average Joe, who's out there busting his butt to support his family and doesn't have those means and that extra income to do that, they're hunting public land, and their family has always hunted public land. And they're pushing more and more people to public land nowadays because there's not a lot of other opportunities that are feasible for hunters to go out there and have an opportunity to hunt. And that's the justification. And the reason that I see is causing more and more people to show up on public lands nowadays, and it feels like it's more crowded. You know, I've said this time and time again. If you look at the data, you look at the statistics of what they tell us according to the data, there's less people hunting nowadays, especially duck hunters, than there's ever been in the history of waterfowl hunting. There's less licenses that are purchased every year when it comes to, you know, duck hunting license. You know, and if you take that to heart and you look at that data and you say, you know, it makes a lot of sense, or it doesn't make a lot of sense, whichever side you're on. The facts are the facts, guys. And there is, you know, less people that are in the sport than there ever has been before. And I know it doesn't seem like that because we feel like we're a lot more crowded, you know, on public lands. But, you know, is it social media that's causing more people to make it feel like it's crowded on public land? Is it, you know, the technology that we have? Yes, I think if you're being honest with yourself, that is a small fraction of something that's paying tribute to that, you know, to us seeing more people on these areas. But I also think it's a greater picture. It's a much bigger picture than that. You know, like I said, I think that a lot of our states are really fighting to have, you know, proper management practices in their states. I know Louisiana, right here in our state, a lot of people are not happy with the wildlife management areas and the state funding and everything that they're doing to produce habitat for waterfowl in our state. I'm sure if you're in other states, you probably feel the same way. There's not many duck hunters that I have talked to across the flyways that are 100% happy with the way their wildlife and management and their resources are managed for waterfowl. Whereas as waterfowl hunters, we're very greedy. We always want more, and that's just the human nature side of it, you know. But there are some states that do it way better than other states, and I can't say that, you know, our state is at the top of that tier when it comes to managing our waterfowl resources on public land. Therefore, we have lost a lot of you know, huntable areas on public land here in our state, and I think it's really done its you know, over time what it's done is it's shrunk down the valuable areas that we have to be able to hunt. And whenever you shrink down the acreage of the opportunities that you have to hunt, and everybody, you know, is trying to push to be able to hunt public land because they can't afford to, you know, other options to be able to hunt, whether it's guided hunts throughout the season or leashes like we talked about, then yeah, it's gonna feel like you're a lot more crowded, guys. It's gonna feel like there is a lot more pressure on those areas that are available to hunt. And I could promise you that us as a platform from a social media outlet, that we are not trying to contribute to that necessarily and push more people to make it miserable on everybody. I guarantee you there is not a true duck hunter or outdoor channel out there that is doing it on purpose to make it more miserable for other people to hunt, you know. I think a lot of people like myself, we're trying to educate people. We're trying to highlight some of the resources that we have to educate people on that are interested in coming to the sport or just getting into the sport, to be able to let them know that, hey, you could come and participate in this sport, and it doesn't have to be, you know, a house payment for you to join a duck lease every year, or, you know, it's obtainable. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, without stuttering on my words. But it's obtainable to be able to hunt, you know, public resources, and this is what is available to you as a public land hunter and a taxpayer. So do I think, you know, to sum up the video, guys, which was the whole topic of this video, is social media killing, you know, public land hunting? Is technology killing public land hunting? No, I don't believe it is. And I think people were hunting public land long before it happened, and I think that they're going to continue to push more to public land, more and more, whether social media is around or technology. If it were to stop evolving today, which we all know it will not, I think people will continue to push to public land opportunities, and we're going to continue to see more people are seen more crowded in those areas until our, government agencies have the resources and the want to be able to better our state land and our wildlife management areas, our national refuges. We have to continue to keep improving those areas, to expand those areas. Therefore, we're not so much on top of each other, if that makes sense. And I think if we could continue to do that and work in that direction, then that's going to be the best opportunity for us in the long run as public land hunters. But I don't feel that, we have that pressure because of just social media or just the technology that's available to us. I think that's little things that play into it. It's a small percentage of what people think, but not nearly to the grand scheme that people think when they want to blame other people for having more pressure on public land. And that's unfortunately, that's also part of human nature. You want to, when things aren't great, you want to look for reasons to blame other people. So that's just my take on it, guys. That's my opinion. This is strictly my opinion. Some of you may agree with me and some of you may disagree with me, and that's okay. That's why we could talk about it. That's why we could have these conversations, and we could talk as outdoorsmen and share our thoughts on this topic. But let me know. I'm curious to know down in the comments, guys, what do you think? What do you think about it? What's your opinion on this matter? I know this is a hot topic for a lot of people. It makes people mad. It makes them mad to the point where their blood boils. Like I said, I've lost friends over this, unfortunately, because it's pissed some people off so much that they just couldn't take it and they didn't want to be friends with me or be associated with me anymore because I don't believe what they believe in that situation. And that's unfortunate, I think that's just the way it is in life. Sometimes we disagree on topics, and that's okay. That's okay, but that's going to continue to happen probably, and whether it's for the good or for the bad, that's probably the way it's always going to be, guys. But I'm interested to know your take on the situation. How do you feel about it? Does something I say in the video strike some emotion in you where you have a comment you want to let me know? Or share amongst each other in the comments below. I'd love to hear the conversation. Hopefully we can keep it civil and see what everybody feels about this situation. But I don't see it as something that's going to stop, guys. It's only going to evolve into more and more. But if we could keep it educational and we could keep it look at it from that perspective, I know that's my goal. That's where I'm going to continue to strive to educate people on my experiences, because I've been doing this a very long time, guys. I was brought up old school. I was brought up, thankfully with parents and grandparents that taught me the right way to approach the outdoors, and I want to continue to teach my sons that and share it with anybody else I can that wants to get into this sport. And that's just my take. That's my opinion. That's my feelings, personal opinion on it. But that's it, guys. I know I ran a little bit longer in this video than I wanted to. If you enjoyed the content and this topic on this matter, guys, leave a comment like I mentioned down below. I'd appreciate it. Share it with your friends. We would appreciate that as well. And we'll talk again, I'm sure, about matters just like this. Some topics more serious, and some topics we'll have a lot more fun and laugh about certain things as we progress on our channel here, guys. But I appreciate each and every one of you, whether you believe or support us in what we're doing or you don't, you disagree with us. Every opinion is valued by us, by me personally, and I appreciate every one of you guys, because I'm in it for the same reason you guys are in it, because I love this sport, I love this hobby, and I want to see it be carried on for generations to come. So, well, that's all I got, guys. Until next time, once again, my name is Jacob, and this is Last Stop Waterfowl Outdoor TV. I thank you for watching.